It's alive!
How do we know she is alive?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
No wire hangers ever!
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Relax. It's all in bad taste.
Sick. Let's pretend like we didn't just spend an hour doing a mic test. Let's pretend
only been an hour.
You're already doing the exact thing that you shouldn't be doing and not talking directly in the mic. So I'm worried about you. But let's just fucking don't. No, you're not playing it back. You're just gonna do it right from now on. You're gonna do a full swivel, and we're gonna take time, and you're gonna do it properly. Do it to practice.
Hello there. I'm back.
General Kenobi.
Oh,
Don't go nuts with it.
I'm not going to go nuts. I'm here. Hi. This is going to end up being problematic, isn't it?
Probably. Well, I mean, we've all drifted away a bit. I think fucking right. Yeah, let's go for it. I've got my script ready. I'm happy. I'm excited because this is a big day for us. It's a big day for the Bad Taste Buds because the hands of fate have doomed you all to have to listen to my sexy, sexy voice for the next hour as we return for our second big episode of Halloween month.
Ooh, how big is the tome of script you've got this time?
5 pages.
Oh, yeah.
5 pages. That's probably... there's not as much to delve into. I think we spent ages in House of the Dead because we just fucking played the game for like half an hour. But yeah, we've left House of the Dead in search for greener pastures, maybe? Redder pastures?
Yeah, that sounds
Browner
more like it.
pastures. Because it's like mostly...
Because it's fucking shit.
It's also mostly set in a desert from what I remember. Because we are going to cover... There's another gold star episode, another heavy hitter, another big boy, a big boy of the bad taste fucking worlds, and that is one of my favorite films. One of Ryan, you've experienced this film before with us as well.
Every film is one of your favorite.
Every film is one of my favorite films.
You cannot say that, but every film.
I will, and I have, and I will continue to do so moving forward.
The Liam stamp of approval is just like pneumatic.
What was the last one? Oh, Godzilla.
I hated Godzilla.
Only and last
Fully
one?
hated Godzilla.
Other than that, every single one's a fucking
I didn't dig Wicker Man.
No. Avatar, however.
Didn't like Avatar. That sucked. Sucked balls.
Cats.
Didn't like Cats. Sucked balls. So
Yes,
I'm not.
There we
We're getting to the good shit now. We're getting to the actual fun shit. Have I even explained what movie we're doing yet?
No.
We're going to do a little ditty from the 60s called Manos, The Hands of Fate. But let me introduce people first, because obviously we've got a lot of voices on the mic, and we're not quite sure. We're doing 14, 15 episodes in. You guys have no idea who these people are. Welcome to the Bad Taste Buds, the podcast where we talk trash about the very best of the very worst in trash cinema. My name is Torgo, and I look after the place while the master is away. Joining me, we have a full fucking house. Finally, it's like getting the whole band back together.
We've got 5 fingers.
We've got 5...
there's 4 fingers and a thumb, isn't there?
4-fingered discount.
Wow. I'll be a thumb.
You be a thumb in my side is not a saying.
Christ.
We've got Hannah and Jack. Like last week, we obviously.
Hey, that's Mr. Jack now.
Mr. Jack Curran.
Yeah, that's it.
How's married life treating you both? We obviously had a little. Hannah was absolutely slating you last week. I couldn't stand it. Like she was just saying how bad it was and how much she wanted it to be over already.
It's just as well I don't listen to the podcast, then, isn't it?
Have you guys gone on any cross-country road trips to creepy cult hotels? Any in the 2 weeks?
That's next weekend.
Oh, is that? Oh shit! Yeah. It kind of is actually as well. Yeah, and then obviously Ryan, as always, pretty much a permanent fixture in the Bad Taste Bud Studios.
I mean, I'm never not here, so why not?
The future Mrs. Ryan Stainsby is not what.
The future Mrs. Ryan Sheen.
Mrs. Ryan Sheen.
You're changing your name.
So then, guys, between Sheen and Stainsby, it's not a race.
Let's do a listener poll. Which is a better surname for me to take when we eventually get married, Sheen or Stainsby? Stainsby.
The stain.
It's stain in the memory.
Just the pain of being a teacher with that surname is all you need to know about how tragically depressing my life is. But that's not all. That's not all we've got going on today. We've got a little extra treat for you guys. Oh, yeah. I think someone needs to go check on the Bad Taste Buds basement ghosts, because we might need a bit more room, because we're going to be adding one to our collection. The one we've got. So I'm really excited about this. And he looks nervous.
Oh, I am.
He's not.
No, I'm not.
I mean, he's not talking into the mic to start with, so I'm going to fucking.
I can talk into the mic.
Who's that? Who's that on the mic?
It's me.
The man, the myth, the legend, George from Tipsy Flicks. Should I call you George or Tipsy?
What
would you prefer?
George. Call me George. That's my name.
Is it?
So we need 10 more guests, and we've got our 13 ghosts. Right?
We've had 4. So
So
we need 9.
9 more, then we've got 13 ghosts.
Oh, yeah, you realise you haven't
13's
added.
the backup.
Oh, so we need 12 then. Yeah.
Yeah, 12. What happened to we just stop then? No more
That's
guests.
it. It's over.
Yeah, well, that's when the podcast ends. How are you feeling, buddy? How's
Yeah,
it?
good. It's good to be here. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, this is it. I think it was. I think it was necessary. I think it was long overdue because I know there's been quite a few times where like, well, I would have loved to be on Howard the Duck. You would have loved to be on House of the Dead last week.
House of the Dead.
But I think we saved a good one, a primo steak for you for tonight. And obviously, you've seen this before. You've seen Manos.
I've seen this once. Well, no, I've seen this a good handful of times. Tried one out, but
but I honestly, I'm just happy that you're finally here with us. I'm finally happy we've got you on mic because I mean, we have quite an interesting friendship burgeoning over the last year or so.
yeah. Well, I started Tipsy Flicks about the same time you guys started this.
Yeah.
So I think we both started our pages about the same time. So
You're my number one lockdown ride or die. We kind of met during the period of when everyone couldn't get outside and we all turned to the internet for our freedom. And then, right, I need you to help me. How did we even start talking? This is a good question because I tried to scroll back through our Instagram messages.
it's far too long.
But it's fucking impossible.
It was.
Liam
It was
doesn't
troll.
drink beer.
Well, not as much as you.
No, I definitely drink more beer than you. It was Troll 2, your first episode, and I think
Was it that far back?
Yeah. So because Troll 2, I just kind of got talking to you about Troll 2. I think you did a listener poll on your thing. I probably just
That
sent
would
a
make
message
sense.
about that.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
can't. I wish I could go far enough back to actually look at the first interactions because now it's pretty much a daily occurrence. So you won't leave me alone, and it's
It's borderline stalking. now.
borderline. Getting a bit. But yeah, I'm happy that you finally meeting the rest of the buds. I'm sure they're very happy that you're here
it's
as well.
great to meet everybody.
And what a movie to do it on as well. What a
See, I was quite looking forward to this one based on a few factors. Firstly, the artwork is pretty cool. The posters are pretty cool.
there's some interesting. Yeah.
Secondly, the name Manos, Hands of Fate, sounds sick. And I
doesn't
think
it?
I'm slightly biased as well because there's a Dark Souls boss called Manos, Father of the Abyss or something like that. So that might have
okay.
slight bias. And also, it's only 70 minutes long.
It's
So I
a
was
winning
like-
combination.
The
then-
longest 70 minutes.
And then,
of
I
this
saw the,
entire life.
and then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score and went, fuck, not another one.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I heard that you were excited for this, I kept thinking, what the fuck's he excited for? I thought you had some insider knowledge.
No, it was based on those 3 factors. It was based on cool artwork, cool name, short runtime.
Can we just rewind? So hang on, you saw the Rotten Tomatoes score
Rewind.
and thought, oh God, why not again, guys? You do realise what sort of podcast you're on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
there's
know
a
what you signed up
difference. There's a
for,
difference
right?
between a 0 and like a 30.
Yeah,
Like,
zero's always way more
like
interesting.
Hang on, this is not
unenjoyable.
a 0, is it?
Oh yes, it is.
Really?
Yes, it is. It's on a 0 and a 1.8 on IMDb.
So yeah, like a 35% when you're like, it's got some appeal. It might be some fun factor in it. 0 is like unappealing on every level, isn't it? You know, it's
Yeah.
like there's no redeemable qualities about this fucking piece of media.
I think it goes full circle back round on itself.
I
and
hope
it
I'm
becomes
wrong.
so mesmerizingly
I hope I
watchable.
enjoy it because it sounds like all I know is it's about a guy that collects hands basically for some ritual. Is that right?
Well, let's wait and see. I don't want to spoil too much. I do want to start with that title because you're right. Manos, the Hands of Fate sounds great in its original language of Spanish. But can anyone tell me what the word Manos means in Spanish, in English?
No, that's
You think it means wolf, the hands
that's
of
like Rojo, isn't it, or Lobo?
As I'm
Is it
like-
Lobo?
Oh, no, it's-
Lobo's
yeah.
wolf.
As I'm wearing my Manos, the Hands of Fate t-shirt that I'm sporting,
Hands.
which obviously
hands, the hands of fate.
yeah, it means hands.
Are we being serious?
Yeah, no, it means hands. Manos
the hands of
translates
fate.
directly.
Hands the hands of fate.
The title of this film is Hands, the Hands of Fate.
Hands the Manos of Fate.
amazing.
Hands the man of fucking. But I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Really, signing up for this.
But everyone's going to go away knowing an extra learning. Everyone's going to.
Learn English first and get back to us.
Let us speak. Come on, she barely gets enough mic time anyway.
Everyone's going to go away at least. Nah.
Are you done? Are you
knowing
done?
One extra word of Spanish.
Right, you've got a 10-minute ban.
Every day's a learning day.
For Hannah, it is. Still learning. I'm just happy George is here personally because it's finally time for me to have a little bit of backup. Because every time you guys tell me how shit my opinions are, George is there fighting my fucking corner.
You're
Are
still
you a fan of?
outnumbered.
So you're a fan of Spider-Man 3 then?
I
Spider-Man 3 is
mean,
wonderful.
Liam has talked me round to rewatching it. I haven't got onto it yet.
So Liam's
And you're
talking-
gonna realize how wonderful it is.
So what you're saying is no, and you're avoiding watching the
Yeah.
film again.
You don't want to disappoint your new friends.
Pressure on you.
It's the best one.
When
Pizza
you
time.
inevitably watch
Pizza
it
time, Liam.
And hate it.
best one.
Just make
Pizza
sure
time.
you don't tell Liam because that might actually end a friendship.
No, there's no way.
No, seriously. I went to watch Planet of the Apes in the cinema with him. Told him I didn't like it. He fully fell out.
Oh, I almost broke up with you when we were driving back from Texas Chainsaw, the re-release of the original Texas Chainsaw, and you were like, "Yeah, it's okay, it's a bit dated," and I was like, "I'm gonna pull this fucking car over, and you're walking, mate." Talking to me about dated. Fuck you. I'm just happy you're here. Like, I mean, it's literally, you've got the train up. And straight away, the first thing you did was convince me to buy a Blu-ray. Is this like a kind of a good guidance about how our friendship is? Just us convincing each other to buy fucking shit we don't need.
Shit movies and to watch shit movies.
To buy, watch, and shit movies. That's what we do. We buy, watch, and shit movies all day, every day. But I do want to take, before we get too far into the pod, I do want to take a few seconds just to kind of promote Tipsy Flicks, because your page, I think, as soon as I saw it, I was just absolutely enamored by the level of effort and the level of work you put into that. And anyone listening to the podcast and not following Tipsy Flicks, I'm going to give you a minute to pause it now and go do that immediately. What made you start doing Tipsy Flicks? Just go a little bit of self-promotion.
Tipsy Flicks was during lockdown idea, because I was sat at home doing nothing but watching movies and drinking beers, and I felt very unproductive doing that, so tried to make it a bit more productive. So I pair all sorts of movies with all sorts of beers, trying to find a link, a thematic link, or a tasty link. So
we've already tied in with this once before, haven't we? We did. Southland Tales. We had the Revolution Will Not Be Televised.
And it was fucking nice, actually.
That was a really good beer.
Was that Errant Brewery?
Errant Brewery, I think. Yeah.
I can't remember it.
I'm pretty sure it was. You had a can in your fridge for like 4 months.
I drank one, but I'm not a big beer drinker. I enjoy one, but I just don't tend to drink on an evening. So I think I had it on my stag do, actually, didn't I? As a warm-up before in between activities.
There you go, George. You were part of our day.
I was a part of a stag.
You
my own special way.
History.
Yeah, and we got quite a few. I think Southland Tales was actually one of our bigger cycles as well. And we nice little promotion, like a little cross promotion. You brought one with you as well. I don't know if you want to talk about the one you brought. We haven't actually got them out. Probably should have, shouldn't we?
I can grab them out.
Should we grab it? Hannah can grab us one out. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little drink on mic, because we don't normally drink on mic. Should we do a nice little crisp can opening on mic as well? What's this? So this is Stacks of Green Paper.
Stacks of Green Paper. So this is from Pomona Island. It's a strawberry and raspberry sour with grains of paradise.
Ooh.
Which I don't know what that means.
Grains of paradise.
That is actually really fruity.
I mean, that's very Manosy. That feels like culty.
It's like
The
strong
beer
in and of
itself looks like a smoothie.
It looks like dark fruits. Yeah.
And that's quite nice. It's quite bitter, but that's a little bit sour. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm imagining very sour.
No, I quite like that. Do you want to, you keep that one. Ryan does not agree. Ryan is wincing.
Oh my god!
At the minute.
Yeah, I wish you could have seen that.
Ryan is frantically looking for another drink.
The sour touched the side of my tongues and got stuck there.
I do want.
It is very sour.
I do think of all the, and I'm gonna say this on mic, of all of the because there's quite a few pairing pages on Instagram at the minute, but I think yours is the most creative. I think yours genuinely kind of. I think you look for thematic elements, whereas someone's just like, oh, this is one's got a picture of Superman.
Have we even said what the beer is called, by the way?
Yeah,
Stacks of Green Paper.
Stacks of Green Paper.
We did, and it's good.
His red right hand.
Are we getting commission for this?
I don't know. From who? Nick Cave or the brewery?
From George
or Manos?
George is paying us to do this. Also, I actually got you something, and I didn't know if it was a good idea to do this on mic. Because it's like not a visual medium, so no one can actually see. You brought us presents, I brought you a present, and I've been kind of keeping this under wraps. But again, I just want to kind of.
Is someone going to do like an audio description of it as it happens?
Someone's going to pop out of a cake now. So if you bear with me 2 seconds.
Liam slowly goes behind him.
This is very exciting.
Looks like some form of cloth.
It looks like a t-shirt. It's a black t-shirt. It's a Hands of Fate black t-shirt.
And we're going to be matching because I also got one. I got the idea because me and Jack got matching t-shirts at the weekend. I was like, I'm just going to get more of my friends matching t-shirts. That only wear matching t-shirts. So yeah, you've got yourself a little Manos the Hands of Fate. I also realised now I'm going to have to retrospectively buy presents for Greg, Harry, and Tom because I didn't get them shit.
But they're already dead. So
they're already dead.
Yeah, they're already part of our collection. This is just weaning him in. It's fine.
That is absolutely incredible.
We're going to bury Tom in it.
You're very welcome.
I mean, you're welcome.
They knew nothing about this.
We totally knew all about this. We helped him pick it, hours.
I will never take it off.
No, but I do appreciate you. I do appreciate kind of like the friendship we've had over the last year, and because I think me and you, we just vibe. We have very similar movie tastes. Specifically, I think our appreciation for like art house and grindhouse. Like, what was the phrase you coined that I just absolutely fucking love?
Art house on the streets, grindhouse in the sheets.
I just absolutely fucking love. So I'll jump straight into the movie. So. Shrouded in infamy, widely regarded as one of the most incompetently made, atrociously shot, and bafflingly edited cinematic outings of all time, that, like many of the films we covered thus far, is steeped in production problems, amateur filming errors, and almost a total lack of editing in any regard. And at this point, fundamentally, there is a massive cult following, as with most of the films that we cover. The only train wrecks of this magnitude, I think, really deserve the kind of love and attention we're going to give Manos. Because again, we're talking about gold star efforts here. This is a heavy hitter on the scale of Troll 2 or Howard the Duck. And we're really going to go in and discover what the fuck happened here.
Last time I watched this, I'm pretty sure I started watching this, saw the driving scene, fell asleep just after they got to the house, woke up, and it was just people dancing everywhere.
You're pretty much describing the film.
I have no memory other than that.
So this is currently the third worst film ever
on IMDb.
According to IMDb. Yeah.
Hang on. Third, what comes below a 0%?
Disaster movie and
Super
Baby
Babies.
Geniuses.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Disaster movie is fucking atrocious, in all fairness. That whole Freeberg and Salsa era of parody movies is probably one of my least favorite time periods in cinema history, so I can't actually argue with that too much. But there is, again, like as with most of the films we cover, there is a loving kind of cult following that kind of followed this, and I think there's a cult of appreciation that's come back round, because there's something fascinating, as with most of these, about just kind of what the fuck happened here, and the story, for my money, is one of the most interesting. And I'll tell you guys very shortly.
So when Jack was saying just now about the artwork got you, I think it goes back to the cult following it had, and I think there's a lot of people with a lot of love for this film who will just do fan art for it, and I think that's.
I was about to say, I've got like Manos Hands of Fate posters and things, and the artwork is really dope.
I mean, even our t-shirts, even the matching t-shirts, that's all from Redbubble, all like
so it's all fan stuff.
It's all fan arts, and you can clearly tell that there is clearly a lot of love and appreciation for this film. You two look so cute together.
Not me and my wife, Hannah and Ryan, who are sharing a microphone this
real
evening.
Soulmates, let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
But I didn't think the cult following though came from the film, did it? It came from so the film got released.
It came from Mystery Science Theater.
And then there was was that like a TV show then?
Yes.
Like basically delved into B movies.
They watch bad movies and
it was like a
chat shit.
over the top chat shit thing, wasn't it?
I know a lot of people in our generation will know them from riff tracks. I think MST3K came out in the 80s and kind of went on for most of the 90s. But Riff Tracks was kind of our modern day equivalent of it, which I knew that's where I started watching them. Upon its initial screening in 1966, writer-director Harold P. Warren, who was originally a fertilizer salesman, just to give you a little perspective on his...
I read this.
So he knows
credentials.
He knows fucking bullshit when he sees it then.
Nice one. How long have you had that one?
Literally 8 seconds. Like I
feel like I spoke over you on the mic, so no one might actually be able to hear it.
Do you want to give Jack his little airtime and we'll re-edit it in?
Yeah, I definitely didn't hear it.
I'll do the whole line again. Written upon its initial screening in 1966, writer-director Harold P. Warren, who originally started his career as a fertilizer salesman.
So he knows a thing or two about complete bullshit.
Yeah, we'll put some audio laugh track in because Hannah ruined it the first time.
Killed it, Hannah.
He even said on its initial screening release that Manos was probably the worst film ever made. Even though he was still very proud of what he'd achieved, he actually suggested that it might be a passable comedy if it was actually redubbed over with comedic lines. It wouldn't be until many decades later, like you said, Hannah, until Mystery Science Theater picked it up to show that it didn't even need a redub to be a pretty serviceable comedy, because this thing is fucking hysterical, I think, from beginning to end. It's unintentionally hilarious. Or dramatically boring. We're going to find out, because I think from our perspective, the three people who've seen it, I remember there's a lot of scenes where I laughed, and there's a lot of scenes where I think I slept through. So there's that kind of dichotomy there as well.
You slept through it.
It's only 70 minutes. It can't be that many
scenes. I don't remember the middle part of this film. I remember the beginning.
Had we not have ordered a Chinese to come when this movie comes on, what would have been your bet on Jack falling asleep? In the 70 minutes
in the opening credit crawl, that's completely botched.
Christ, really?
Yeah.
Genuinely amazed this is only 70 minutes. It really does feel like a lifetime as you're going through it. It's like
they squeeze such an amount of stuff into it, do they?
So production began in early 1966 and started, as all great labours of love do, as a bet between Warren, the director, and a screenwriter called Sterling Silliphant, which fucking great name, Silliphant. Fucking wonderful. He would be known for a lot of 70s disaster movies. I think he worked on the script for The Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno, actually.
Oh, so the movies weren't disasters, they were disaster movies.
They were disastrous disaster movies. No, they're actually pretty good movies.
Disaster, movies.
Not like this, which is a disaster non-comma movie.
How does a fertilizer salesman end
Oh,
up
I'm gonna tell
making
you,
a...
Anna.
Ooh.
I'm just
That
picturing
sounds
him.
like a joke.
I know. I'm just picturing him going door to door with a fucking
Picture
suitcase
like
full
a
of shit.
salesman
Like,
and a director walk into a bar.
I'm waiting for the punchline.
Manos of the Hands of Fate is the fucking punchline, mate.
Hands the hands of fate is the
Hands the
punchline.
Hands of Fate.
They met on a TV set during the filming of a TV show called Route 66, which I'm probably unfamiliar with. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with that. I think it's American. I've never heard of it before this. But Silly Fan basically got into a conversation with Warren, and basically Warren said, yeah, there's no way it's that hard to make a horror film. I could definitely do that. There's absolutely, it's one of the easiest thing a filmmaker could do, is what he said. Betting that he could do the whole project by himself with no help from outside influence, basically.
it's such boomer energy. It's like when your
Literally,
dad
right?
says, "Oh, I could write a dubstep song," isn't it? It's like that kind of falsified white man confidence, isn't it? It's really great to see when that goes so tits up.
And cinema history was made right there as Warren began the first outline for his script on a coffee shop napkin. That's where he did it. That's his very first outline, was on a napkin in a coffee shop. And I think there's something incredibly romantic about that story. I think the biopic of this movie would make a really cool little screenplay in and of itself. To finance the film, Warren accumulated a substantial but insignificant amount of cash, as much as $19,000, equivalent to about $1,500 today in today's money.
Hold on, what?
It doesn't go down, it goes up.
$19,000.
It's about 50 odd thousand
That's
today.
what I meant.
There you go, hun.
No, surely not.
150
20 grand in the 60s. It's got to be worth at least like 200
No,
grand
it's
now.
not, because I know exactly where Liam got this information from, because I read the same page.
But I don't know how to do numbers.
Right,
you
I'm
know,
gonna
I've got
do
the
like
script
an
here. Do you want to have a look
inflation.
at it? He also hired a group of actors from the local theatre group, many of whom he had worked with before, just basically doing local plays, local theatre productions. And while he was unable to pay the cast and crew any wages due to the budgetary restrictions, Warren promised them a share of the film's profits. Pause for collective laughter.
Sorry,
They got nothing then.
just to tag in.
Absolutely none
Surely
of.
they must have got something... Sorry, I'll start that.
Absolutely. Wait,
Surely they must have something now, though, because it's making money now, and it's like if you buy stocks and they don't initially make any money, that's fine, but if they make it in 50 years, you still get some cash from it, so surely they must be getting some money from a form of cult following, surely.
I sincerely hope so.
Can I just loop back into an inflation argument?
Are you going
here?
to fix
Sorry.
my math
$100
problem?
in 1966 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $846
Okay,
today.
so it was 19 grand, so
So
what's
it's
that now?
about 8.5 times worth that.
Do it
So
in your
20
calculator.
Oh god,
19 grand.
19 times 8.5. So it's only about $165,000.
To be fair, that's kind of what's on my script. I just fucked it up. Like, it's 150,000. Is that right?
Okay, yeah.
Is-
Yeah,
what did I
sounds
say?
about right.
What did I say?
You're like
1,500.
I'm not very good at this.
We're all cavemen.
No, they did get paid something. What did they get? You know what they got paid.
The dog that's in the film got paid in a bag of dog food. And
Which today is worth 8 bags of dog food.
Wow.
And one of them got paid in a bicycle.
I'm not doing the same joke twice. Rule of three.
You know it's a bicycle.
Yeah.
Amazing. But I think there were some issues with the actual trademarking of the film as well, because this is weirdly a film that stayed in the public domain because the guy just forgot to license it as a trademark as well.
Did you just go, what's the fucking point?
Basically, I
To be
think.
fair, who else is calling anything hands of fate?
Well, I wonder this is why maybe they don't get any money today, because there's no proof that this was a registered trademark of a thing. I think, which I often wonder how the Blu-ray, because obviously there is a restoration now. They've got the original film reel and they've restored it to some extent, as much as you can restore a film like this.
I reckon that's just fans again.
Do you think?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
They are a
surprised.
force. Once you've got them, magical things can happen. So
Yeah, and that was that as the birth. That's how the Manos Hands of Fate came to fruition. It was actually originally meant to be called, and I love both of these titles. The first two working titles was The Lodge of Sins, which I just think sounds like the seediest couples
It
retreat.
does. It sounds like a porn film. doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It still makes more sense than Hands of the Hands of Hands.
Hands, the Hands of Hands. And the second working title was even more porny, Fingers of Fate. I'm not even going to go into what they are. I'm not even going to.
oh, I'm sad.
I'm not even going to make a joke about that one. It's
I'm
too
really
too low hanging
sad.
fruit. Why? Because it wasn't called.
Hang on, what's Spanish for fingers?
Oh, don't do this. Everyone, get your phones out.
Everybody do a Google. Dedos. Dedos, the hands
Mate.
of fate.
Dead off the Fingers of Fate. That's such a better title.
Right?
Right?
Dead. I mean, you got dead in the title right there.
Why
Missed
was that
opportunity.
Not used? That's definitely not going to be the way it's pronounced, is it? Because it's Spanish and I've just pronounced it. So.
Our 3 Spanish listeners, please write in. I don't think we've got any Spanish listeners actually.
Oh, I just typed in hands and it came up Manos.
We
Duh.
live with someone from Spain.
He's not.
Just ask.
He's not here. He's at work. He can't. Filming will be completed within the year. Have you got it? What was it?
Dedos.
Was it?
Dedos.
That's amazing.
Right?
Dedos.
Of fate.
The fingers of fate.
The fingers of fate.
That's how many fingers.
That one Jamaican. Let's take that out.
Should we all have a little round?
del destino.
Wait, we do it again?
Dedos del destino.
Dedos del
This is
destino.
Bad Taste
Fingers of
Budge, your weekly Spanish lesson.
Fucking sponsored by Duolingo.
Have we mentioned how the film's not actually Spanish as well?
Oh yeah, there's none of that.
There's no.
Is it even
there's
based in like
no.
There's nothing
Mexico
even vaguely.
maybe because they're like their second language?
It's Texas, right? It's El Paso.
Yeah,
That's
so it's on the
language
border.
Spanish.
It's the first language.
It's close enough to Mexico to maybe not be completely irrelevant to the film itself. Maybe. But they never mention, you're right, they never mention anything to do with Spain or Mexico or the Spanish culture. None of that. So just, I think it's because he thought, I mean, Manos is kind of a cool name.
Manos is a cool name.
Yeah. There are, again, what Jack was
By
saying, there are
itself.
elements of this that I think visually and aesthetically, I think you guys will appreciate. And the fact that the costuming is kind of fun. I know there's that iconic cape that I think you wanted to wear for a bit.
I always want to wear that cape.
Yeah. You're wearing it right now if you had it, I think.
I would be. I'd never take it off.
But yeah, filming would be complete within the year because almost all of the principal production had to be rushed out because the way that Warren did it is he rendered pretty much everything that was on set. So all the cameras, all the sound equipment, everything that was there was rendered.
So this was one of the bits that I read up on, the type of camera. Do you have the type
I
of
do.
camera?
I have
down? 'Cause that
the
was
exact.
madness.
So all the footage was shot on a 16mm Bell and Howard camera, which was not only handheld, so like you got
nice.
any steady shots, but also had to be wound up by hand and could only shoot for 32 seconds at a time.
What?
Which probably led to the myriad of issues once the film hit the editing
Though
room.
I'm liking them keeping the hands thing going. You know, they had to wind it
Manos, the
up by
handheld
hand.
camera of fate. Manos, the hand-wound camera of fate. Jesus fucking Christ. Warren only did 2 takes each shot. He said that every time his cast and crew were like, well, do we not want to take a few more? That wasn't great. He was like, no, Hollywood would fix that in the editing process.
Hollywood.
The magic of
place.
Hollywood.
The magic of
It was the
Hollywood.
Magic of
60s.
Hollywood.
What did they have in the editing
I mean, he
process?
was probably on acid or something, wasn't he? It was the
Oh,
60s.
we'll get there.
Oh,
we'll
really?
get there, my
Oh,
friends.
yes.
Don't you worry about that. All the sound effects and the dialogue were dubbed in later in post-production.
How good is the dub? Is it poor?
Well, it was done by him and his like mini team.
Pretty
They weren't
much, yeah, it was
exactly
like-
I think it was like
professionals, were they?
two people did
Yeah.
all the voices.
I was interested in seeing
Madness.
actually the cast list where there's only about 4 named characters and so just Thingy's wife, Thingy's wife,
Yeah.
Thingy's wife,
Yeah.
Thingy's wife.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are just like teenager in car, girl in convertible, cop.
Because it would take a lot of time to give them names, Jack. And
Yeah.
actual character development.
We don't want them. We don't want
We
to
don't
relate.
Don't you besmirch the good name of Cop?
Again, guys, very easy to make a horror film, is what he said. Very, very easy.
I think I smashed it.
The handful of people, I think it was Warren himself. So the director himself did a lot of the dubbing. A guy, Thomas Naiman, Reynolds, Jennings, and Warren's wife. So there was about 4 people doing the dub.
good
His
team
wife,
of
but a lot of the actors. I remember I think it was the actor who played Debbie, the young girl. I remember seeing she saw her performance and was so upset that she started crying during the images because it wasn't her voice. She was looking at like that's not me, and she started crying during the screening. The original screening when they first showed this is absolutely hysterical because not only was she crying, there were like actors who were involved in the film who actually left before the end because they didn't want to be associated with it.
I don't want to do the press conference at the end.
So
Literally.
hang on, while he was filming it, did he make them like say that, and then he got somebody completely different to dub over?
Because they
them?
didn't have the equipment. They didn't have sound equipment.
Why did they not use the same people at least?
Because that would be too easy. Because that would be
I
too
feel like
obvious.
It's adding so many layers.
And again, like rereading this and re-exploring this, I know from our perspective, the 3 of us who have seen it, I'm just like, I'm a nice mixture of really excited and really nervous to reevaluate this thing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
That's pretty much where I landed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm quite excited for everyone to see it, but then I'm also remembering my past with it and thinking, fuck, really going to waste my time with it.
This is a chore of a movie to get through. Like it is the longest 70 minutes. of your
it's
life.
mad. You're
Is it as much of a chore as After Last Season? That is my benchmark.
You've never seen
for-
After Last Season, have you, George?
What's this?
What's-
I'm not
It
familiar with
Jack-
it.
Jack's not either.
genuinely broke my brain.
This is
Like,
a weird movie that we are going to cover on the podcast that we just...
Really? Do we have to?
Yeah, we will eventually. It's a...
Can I use
George,
my
I
veto?
love George is jotting this down.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
like,
writing this down. What's it called? After last
After
season?
last
After last
season.
season.
And it's this weird movie. And again, I think it's from Texas. I think it's an Austin, Texas made film. Made in about 2000 and... God, it'll be like 2010 maybe. On a budget of $5 million. So it had a decent budget.
So I want to say, these are the two that have always stuck in my mind for taking the longest to watch. And I don't think anything else hits that.
Was after last season a long film or not?
No.
Was it
it's
again
not
a
a
case
long
of
season.
really short film,
Wow.
but just painful?
I
What
aged.
beer's going to pair nicely with it, do you think? Is it going to be like bleach and
Battery
bleach?
acid,
Bleach
yeah.
and cat piss?
It's this weird thing where it's like it's this weird drama about someone who has a tumor, I think was the main plot, wasn't it? And there's
I can honestly say I don't think it has a plot.
We were sitting
All I know
there-
is that there was a literal cardboard MRI machine.
there were actual
on
like
£5 million, guys.
yeah, there were inquiries afterwards that I think a lot of people thought this was like a tax thing, and they were just they got the budget and then didn't use the budget, or they used it as some kind of tax dodge. But it's an interesting one.
to the film.
It's an interesting one for you, George, because I think you'll watch it and think like, you're right, what the fuck happened here? I think you'll be just curious as a test of how much you can sit through, and how much pain you can.
Very interested to watch.
We'll have a little. Tell you what, watch
Anyone who enjoys that film needs to be added onto a list. I don't know what list, but a list.
Yeah,
It needs to be
I
watched
could not even
very
enjoy that.
carefully.
Back to Manos. Warren decided to shoot night for night scenes because many of the cast and crew had day jobs. Because again, they were just theatre locals. They were guys who were working in the local theatre scene.
No
So you'll-
dentists.
Dentists, they'll just be fucking George Hardy was there somewhere, probably in his youth. You'll notice when you come to watch it that many of the night scenes, the camera and lighting attracted swarms of moths, which is fucking wonderful. So there are just scenes where bugs are on the lens for extended periods of time, moments where the actors were told they couldn't stand too far away from the camera because there wasn't enough lighting to light the surrounding scenes. So they've got to stand too fucking close because they can't fucking be seen otherwise. But kind of going back to your point on the acid story, Hannah, there is actually I don't know if it's quite a sad story about one of the actors.
It's a very sad.
It's a pretty
not
sad.
fun.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to. You mean yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So John Reynolds, who plays Torgo, who's one of the more cultier aspects of this film. He's what is it?
He's a fawn.
A fawn!
Fawn.
A fawn. A fawn in my side. He is. Sorry.
Had to get that one in.
Thorn. Get it? Thorn.
I thought you were actually asking what goat legs were called,
it's
not what the
goat
creature was
legs.
called.
No, the creature with the goat
It's
legs.
goat
So,
legs.
so he's wearing, the actor who played him is wearing this harness thing to make him look like he's got goat legs. And he spent the whole film
So
with
sad.
it on backwards. So instead of making him look like he's got goat legs, it was just eating into his knees, and he was on painkillers for the rest of his life after this.
Painkillers and a shit ton
And
of
a
LSD.
lot of LSD.
Yeah, he was on LSD for the whole film, and again, a lot of the actors picked up on this. I think the girl who played Debbie just thought he was a really enthusiastic
At
little girl.
one point, was not like, this really fucking hurts.
Again,
Probably
LSD.
take these
Yeah,
out.
LSD
imagine.
probably. I mean, yeah, that probably.
Was he on LSD when he was wearing these, so he didn't think about this, or did he think like what was the? He
What
wasn't
came
getting paid
first?
for
Was he
this.
was he in pain because did he wear them backwards because he was on LSD, or
What
was he
came
on
first, the
LSD
chicken
because
or
he
the
was wearing them
LSD?
back? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the age old question, isn't it? But yeah, unfortunately, pretty much as soon as the film finished wrapping, Reynolds actually did end up killing himself. Probably with due to a mixture. So I'm going to dedicate this episode to John Reynolds because he solidified his cult status in this movie. But it's probably not a great. We always talk about how some of these movies can destroy actors' lives, and I think this literally did destroy his life. The LSD probably didn't help, but yeah. Sorry to bring. Just looking around at the sad fucking.
I was just trying to think of an uplifting segue to transition into there.
So
but I've got
anyway.
nothing, yeah.
Fucking hell.
You've absolutely killed me there. Oh God, poor choice of
No. We like tiptoeing around. Yeah, please don't
So
cancel
let's
us.
get on to the Master, Margaret, and Michael.
The Master, Margaret, and Michael. You want to say
I'm
that three
liking
times?
the M's.
Manos, the Master, and Margaret, and Michael.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you like that? The film premiered. Sorry, go for it. Yeah, just say it.
And
What are you doing?
Torgo was the thumb. The Manos. No, I'm going to stop because that was dumb.
No, do it.
Manos, Master, Margaret, Michael are the four fingers, and
Torgo was the
Torgo,
thumb.
The thumb.
Okay, yeah, sure. If you want to go, if you want to go there, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to put on mic, that's entirely up to you. The film premiered at the Capri Theatre in Warren's hometown of El Paso. Kind of nicely, a lot of the little money they did make, they actually donated to a cerebral palsy fund when it came out. So there is that kind of element to it. That's kind of cute. Warren arranged for a searchlight to be used at the cinema and for the cast to be brought in limousines, but unfortunately, he could only pay for one limousine, so they had to do multiple trips.
They actually did it. I was going to say they're probably better off not getting that kind of attention going in, but they just compounded on it by getting the same limo repeatedly.
It's a bit embarrassing. Like, all right, I'm just going to do the next drop off. It feels like, yeah, you're doing like lifts into town with your mates. Yeah, so several of the cast and crew members actually reported to be laughing continuously throughout the screening. Some snuck out before the film wrapped, as to not be associated with this.
Didn't want to wait for the limo. Just wanted to get on the first lift home.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the majority of the cast and crew never appeared or worked in the film industry again following Manos. And for the longest time, this film would kind of fade into obscurity. Jackie Neyman, the actress who played Debbie, actually tried to track the film down once she enrolled in university, so this would be about the 70s, and just had no luck finding any copies of this film. And it wasn't until Mystery Science Theatre that things started to resurface. I think they got sent a restored copy of the original film prints because kind of just sitting in the Mystery Science Theatre in their studios for a while, and that's kind of where the resurgence and where the cult kind of really truly began.
Who sent it to them? Do we know?
I like to think it was anonymous.
I hope.
There was the doorbell went one day, and it was just
anonymous. The videotape of fate.
They delivered it with their Manos.
It took me a while.
No.
Oh,
their hands. Okay, I get it now. That's pretty cool.
No, they're deados.
You know what? If you haven't seen Mystery, it's probably their most. Would you say it's their most famous? It's definitely one of their most famous episodes, right?
Probably.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there, but it's definitely worth a watch if you've never watched it. I was actually tempted to do the 0.5 on that, but I think we've got some sequels to watch and prequels to watch instead. I'm looking at you, George, because I'm going to force them. I'm going to make you suffer through them tomorrow, I think. Warren, after the film...
There's a sequel to this.
So, right.
A sequel and a prequel.
Oh my God.
I'm actually really curious about the prequel because the prequel is called The Rise of Torgo, and I wonder how they're going to... Because it was like made in 2014. I wonder who replaces the legendary John Reynolds.
And if they get the brace on the right way around.
And if they don't cripple the poor guy, yeah.
Again, I'm assuming that these are all fan-made.
Yes. Well, weirdly enough, they will be all fan-made, but weirdly enough, the sequel, Manos Returns, actually stars the guy playing the original Manos, and his only 2 film roles is in this, and the 2018 sequel, Manos Returns.
How old was this guy then?
He must have been pretty old, because he was probably in his 30s during the 60s, so fuck. Yeah, he would have been in late 80s. Maybe even early 90s at that point. I'm not really sure. But yeah, Warren went back to his job as a fertilizer salesman after making Manos. He tried pitching a sequel at the time and another script named Wild Desert Bikers, but unfortunately neither were they. Were both turned down and rejected, and he really didn't have any other forays into the film industry. He did try and publish a few books. He was kind of deft at writing, but he unfortunately didn't get anything published either.
I don't know if it's props to him for giving it another go after such a colossal
train wreck,
or whether it's just like that again, over falsified white man confidence of like that boomer energy of I can do anything I set my mind to.
Yeah, this is it.
You know, I'm going to actualize my destiny one way or another.
I think
no one can tell me otherwise.
Maybe he just turned around after the film and just went, actually, I don't want to be a fertilizer salesman.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Exactly.
It's not
like
a door-to-door thing. Do you think?
No,
fertilizer. Are all your plants dead, mate? I can do something about that.
I don't think you realise the quantity of fertilizer
just
required.
Just lugging around shit.
I don't think it's just like a knocking door to door with a briefcase.
I've got a big briefcase full of shit here, ma'am. Can I offer you it? Yeah, that was kind of the end of the history of Manos. But on its current kind of...
Sorry, segue. Hannah got ambushed by a guy with a briefcase full of shit
I heard
this week.
This.
Yeah.
What happened?
I ended up with 3 fridge balls for 13 quid, which when I googled them, I paid £12.
Fridge ball?
That's what I said.
So, right, these are meant to... He called me at a bad time. I was quite emotional. He played a guilt story, and I was like, fine, take my money. Ended up with these 3 fridge balls, which are meant to keep things fresher. I paid £13 for them. On Amazon, they are £6, and apparently they have actually made people's fridges smell worse.
Spend £13 on smelly balls.
Yeah, in a nutshell. I also locked us out of the house this week to cause us £100, and I lost my bank cards. It's been a really good 7 days.
Well, what a good way to end it.
Woo!
By watching Manos the Hands of Fate.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could have made a film.
You could have. Currently, it sits on a whopping 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, with based on 16 reviews. So I don't know how much I'm going to give credence to that, because I think if it was reviewed today, and I think people who are within the cult of appreciation, there is something to love here. Whether or not there's definitely no quality here. The quality is pretty much absent, but there is a level of admiration for someone who took it upon himself to make a film on no money and no experience and no, I don't know, there's a level of audacity, there's a level of ballsiness there, I think, that I can at least appreciate. He did it. He's made more films than I have, so
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy that he took his medicine and was like, right, yeah, I was wrong.
Yeah.
This was hard.
Well, no, again, he said he's proud of the work, but he knows it's shit. He knows it's probably one of the worst films ever made. So I think it takes a lot of guts to say that, and I think, props to him.
Yeah,
absolutely props to him. There were 4 stage adaptations of the film that had been made post.
4?
4.
Fucking 4, what?
Yeah, there was one a musical called Manos Rock Opera of Fate, which I know I definitely want to watch.
I need that in my life.
Right? I need a rock opera version of everything.
Hold on, let's
so-
everyone take 30 seconds, see if we can think of a better name for a musical of Manos than Rock Opera.
Rock Opera
'cause
of
that's
Fate.
so
Man
like,
opera.
Man Opera.
That's just-
Oh, Man Opera?
Man opera?
Come on, 30 seconds,
Okay.
guys. 30 seconds on the clocks.
I'm going to win
Manos
this.
Bands of Fate. Come on.
There's a puppet musical entitled Manos, the Hands of Felt.
Everybody
Oh,
loves
see, that's good.
That's quite a
See,
good
that's
title.
good. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's actually got. I'm genuinely serious. Do we need to watch this one? Because I'm
Do you
all
watch
about
Manos?
some puppets.
Weirdly enough, it's on my Blu-ray as well. There's a special feature that has
Of
Manos,
course you've
the
got it on
Hands of
fucking
Felt.
Blu-ray.
Of course I have it on Blu-ray. What else am I going to have it on? But for several years, this film was the lowest rated movie on IMDb, as you said before, Jack.
You said there was 4. You've said 2.
Oh, so no, the others are just called Manos Hands of Fate. They're just stage adaptations because apparently the story needs to be told on the stage as well as on the screen. Apparently that's an essential. But yeah, there was the 2013 prequel, Manos: The Rise of Torgo, and the 2018 sequel, Manos: The Returns, I think it's called. Manos like Resurrection or something like that, or Manos Requiem. I don't fucking know. Yeah, Manos Returns. Yeah, that's what it is. Which I think I'm going to try and make you and me tackle. I think tomorrow, mate. I'm going to make you suffer through that shit.
I'm a little bit scared for that.
You should be. You should very much be. And I'm
Treat
gonna,
him with the puppets as a reward.
The puppets.
Should we do puppets?
The puppet sounds amazing.
Should we do puppets?
Why don't you have?
yeah.
No, you
why
don't.
don't you,
That's
Should we
the
have this
carrot,
conversation off
Liam.
mic? But we should have puppets.
Yeah.
why don't you get all 4 of them up at the same time? Have like
Just what? Have 4 different screens watching them.
You've got the musical, you've got
simultaneously.
the theatre play, the puppet, and the original for comparison at the same
Fuck
time.
yeah, man. And
simultaneously.
I think that is as good a place to end part 1 as ever. We are going to go watch the 70-minute.
I'm assuming there's no trailer for this.
There are some fan trailers, but there's probably no need because it will not help. It will not make this easier. But before we do go, how are we all feeling? We excited? What are we expecting?
I think I know what I'm expecting. It for all I don't remember the plot, the sensations that has left me with is going to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
Still, I'm like, I really want you all to see it. It's worth it for that, but fuck, it might be hard. At least food's here.
We've got takeaway
I was
coming.
about to say, like, currently, Manos Hands of Fate is also linked with the Chinese, so
Manos
currently quite
Hands of
excited.
Food.
But I don't know.
Manos Hands of Bait.
Hey!
That wasn't bad.
That's excluding everyone who isn't from the northeast for that joke, though, because bait equals food here.
It does. Yeah, that's how we say food.
Did you see the person in Yorkshire who asked for corn on the cob and got a literal bun, like a bread
What?
bun with corn on it?
did not see
There's a
that.
cob bun.
I didn't know Cobb was bun in Yorkshire.
Not here. It's
It's
not.
like, I think it's like West Yorkshire.
No, I'm from West Yorkshire. We call it a tea cake.
That's weird too.
No, tea cake's a totally different thing.
Don't like
Yeah,
Are a tea
we
cake.
could have a whole conversation about this.
Yorkshire Wars, round 1.
Just sitting here with my stoddy, just
A stotty or a bap. You can have a bap.
You can have a bap or a
Bar.
stoddy. Yeah.
South Yorkshire
Stoddy.
of the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bap is acceptable.
Just call it a fucking bread bun.
You know what? Weirdly enough, this kind of works because our title for the podcast is a food pun as well. So we could be a food bad taste buds. You know, so it's about food.
And with that, guys,
We're going to eat some bread and watch Manos. Let's fucking go. See you soon. We may as well get on mic while we're while the night is young.
this is
This
true.
isn't free, you know.
Sorry,
every-
guys.
I really want to do
Every
that crossword.
32 seconds, I have to start a new roll of tape, and it's a whole extra pound.
Just dub us in afterwards. It's fine.
Dude, I should do that for this episode. Should I get like a bunch of different voice actors for
Absolute
each
randomers.
character?
Just grab them from the
So when,
street.
when George starts talking, it's just like, "Hi, I'm George."
An old woman doing a little girl's voice.
Hello, I'm George.
I look after the place till the master's away.
Can I just start by saying,
That's the
that.
child.
I do love, right, we're back from watching Manos, as you can tell. I think I've got an idea of where everyone sits as far as enjoyability. I've got a good idea of where George is just based off his clapping at the end. I mean, the way he gave it a round of applause.
I was on my own with that, but I felt it was just.
And the other extreme, we have Jack, who didn't make it back.
Yeah.
Me and Hannah no longer have to share.
A 70-minute film, and he couldn't make it through.
Pour out a little toast for our boy Jack, who didn't make it.
He was so excited for it as well.
And I think for most of it, he was actually enjoying it. He just
About 50 50 minutes
hit a
in,
wall,
he physically
didn't he?
turned his head the opposite way around.
There's just so much wonder, I think, in this. I don't know. I'm going to start off the praise by saying it's just whimsy from beginning to end. It's just so fascinating.
Macy agrees.
It's just fascinating every inch of it because you're like, right, yeah. Just as I don't think it can get any more incompetent, there's a cat
They'll
fight.
find ways.
They'll find a way. Like, just even if we just dissect like some of the scenes, like my personal favorite, one of the cat fight scenes between the wives. So basically,
There was only one. It
hold on.
just went on for half the film.
Before we do, we need to do a quick plot synopsis just to catch people up who haven't seen it, because sometimes people don't see it before this. Anyone want to take it here? You want to go for it?
I'll have a
Go on, as the
stab at
guest.
it. So little summation of Manos, the Hands of Fate. The a family, parents and a young child, are going on holiday but get lost along a road that leads to nowhere.
Literally nowhere.
And they come across a house
Yep.
inhabited by a weird goat man.
Torgo.
And a man and his many wives. And it's not really clear what they're doing there or what their purpose is or what their motivation is for anything. But they're there and they torment this family to make the mother one of the wives.
Yeah.
And they're trying to decide whether or not they should kill the other two.
The man,
The child, no.
Just one piece of dialogue you can expect to hear in this. That was brilliantly summarised, though. You did probably a better job than I did. Keep you around.
We'll put Jack in the basement instead.
He's not earning his keep. Let's lock him up in the glass prisons, and George can stay out for a bit. Where did it really begin? We should do a little round robin as to like enjoyment levels, because I was right there clapping with you at the end. This is just this is exceptionally bafflingly brilliant cinema that you just don't get from the majority of. I mean, anything else. You can't really compare it to anything, can you?
No.
It's incomparable.
Other than my grandparents' home cinema videos.
Right, well, you picked up on this straight away, didn't
It
you?
was literally the first, I'm going to say 20 minutes, it was probably 2. It felt like a lifetime, right? Of just these pointless clips of like just landscapes put to jazz music. Like, it was literally like I was 6 years old again, sat in my nana's living room, watching the videos from Malta, from the various
Did it not
cruise ships
make
they've
you
been
feel
on.
really nostalgic and really emotional?
No.
Did you not get that?
No, I just remembered really wanting to go outside, and I was forced to watch hours and hours and hours, and it took me straight back there to like it was like a roundhouse on an acid
What
trip.
you're not telling us is your nana was actually part of a multi-wife sex cult. You were the child in this story. This was actually a biopic of your life. Ryan and George, what we thinking, lads? How we?
I think it's an experience. It's not something I watch for enjoyment. I'm sapped of energy. Like, the spirits have drained me. I'm with Manos now. It definitely is something you're going to want to watch for the talk factor. But
Just
unless you're a proper weirdo like this lot, then it's not going to be enjoyable.
Okay, let the weirdos talk for the rest of the episode then.
I loved it. I mean, I was a bit apprehensive going in. I think the last time I watched this, I watched it by myself for whatever reason.
Amateur mistake.
It was, so watching it with people is the place to watch it. I think we all had a good time. We were all like laughing throughout it and making jokes for it, and that's exactly how this film should be.
If you can get your own crew together to do a live riff tracks of it as you're watching it, it's the only way to watch it, I think.
If only to keep your sanity while
I
watching.
think there is sort of like a beauty in just how consistently shite it was.
This is it,
all of the way through. Like it never showed like even a tiny little bit of competence, and I think
Well,
that's a skill in itself. Not to get a single thing correct.
A single thing I can honestly say.
The cape was right.
The cape is amazing.
The cape was
that was it.
fair enough.
That's the standout of the film.
The whole budget went on how good that fucking
But
cape
you could also
was.
tell that they knew the cape was the best.
Because they kept
thing
showing it
in the
off, and
film. Because the
fucking
guy
literally
was
they would.
like literally stood like he was on a cross the entire time, just to show off this cape.
Weird bit of trivia that I didn't actually say in the first part. I was going to say it in the first part, but I'm glad you brought it up. That the director, the one thing he did do after going back to being a fertilizer salesman is apparently, according to his son, wear that cape.
I mean, why would you ever take it off?
Yeah.
It's a fabulous
When
cape.
he died, his son then went on to say he wore it a fuck ton around the house. It's like a family tradition.
I thought you were going to say he was buried.
It would have been so much better. You imagine
With those sandals too.
Imagine future archaeologists, like 2,000 years from now, digging up this fucking skeleton of a caped man. Well, let's just talk about the incompetencies. Then let's focus in on one of the incompetencies: the dubbing.
Oh,
The dubbing is a standout.
I feel bad for the actors, but on the bright side for them, at least no one will ever know how bad they would have been talking.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, the dubbing is it's one of these things where the child, especially, I think, suffers the most from it.
Yeah,
'Cause it sounds like it sounds like the actor they've got to dub the child as a 50-year-old Southern woman from like
An inaudible
like
50.
Yeah, this is it. Like, I'm surprised. How do you manage to dub over a movie and still make it inaudible? Like, that should be the easiest part. Like, that should be where you fix all the audio issues.
You couldn't
Yeah,
hear a
it's having-
single. I heard like a word here and there, like Barbie. Okay.
I absolutely adored your reaction, George, when they were like, "Well, let's sing a song. Let's sing a family song on the way." And what fucking song is it?
It's Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Of course it is. Of course it's Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Just giving me those Troll 2 flashbacks immediately. It just works on that like fascination level for me. Like, I just can't take my eyes off it because of how fascinated I am with just how everything is so appalling.
I think it was the choice as well to never put like another sound effect other than a voice in there. It's like he forgot that other sounds existed. So like
Also,
silent
Piano
fire.
music.
When he shut the car door.
But no, the way he did like the fire, you would have expected just like something,
crackling
like
or
a
something,
crackle
yeah.
or a whoosh or a, I think it was meant to be that sort of like mystical moment, wasn't it? And it was just silence.
But even then, like, he slammed the car door. There's not a single sound.
Or sometimes they even mix sound effects up, like when the woman closes the car door near the end and it's just a thundery noise. Like, it's like, like I get
Maybe
that.
he like forgot to put it in, couldn't be bothered, so he just thought I'd make it up with the last one.
Or maybe
Have
he's
one
never-
cracking.
Maybe he's never seen a fire before. Maybe that's the first time he's ever...
Maybe it was meant to be a jump scare. I keep forgetting it's meant to be a horror,
It's not, though, is it?
but it was meant to be
It
a
was
horror.
designed specifically to be a horror.
It did not turn out that way. Horribly incompetent. But even that, like, those last scenes, they're in a car and like, oh, I'm so sick of this rain, sat in the convertible. Not a drop of rain.
Well, this
Like,
is
it
it.
clearly rained earlier in the day, and it's like, now, go, we'll do the scene. By the time they got everything ready, the rain had definitely stopped.
With the top down as well.
The top down.
It's rain.
I didn't even notice that. It's magical in its level of incompetencies. Like, even from the way it clearly wasn't edited. But you're right, they use the way you think the scenes. So
No, it definitely was edited, because when you mentioned the 32-second thing again, I was reminded every 32 seconds it like changed the clip, and I was like, fuck. But then I noticed sometimes where it was like half a second, and it would jump, and the people would magically jump for like 3 frames for half a second. It was so bizarre.
There was plenty of times where people would be stood in a room and it would cut and then they'd be in different places in the room.
But there was no effort to change that either. Like in the initial car scene, he knew he had 32 seconds, so he took 32 seconds of a man travelling in one direction.
Well,
like, a whole 32 seconds.
We've not even told the story as to why that scene is that the way that is, the specific driving scene, the opening driving scene. George,
There's
you go
a
on.
reason
There
for
is a
it.
reason for it.
They were intending to have an opening credit scene with the names crawling through, but then didn't know how to do it. So they just left it. But then they managed to get the end credits over footage.
Right.
So they obviously knew how to do it. Did they not know how to do it at the start of the film and then never
Maybe
bothered to
he
go back?
watched that and just thought it was a brilliant piece of movie.
Maybe they're
Maybe he
just
thought
so
this
proud.
is so off-putting that this will be how we scare people.
Nah, he was definitely just done. Like, he was like, right, I figured it out. The fuck am I going to go all the way back to the start?
Fertilizer salesman. Like, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm over it. Yeah, I can't be asked to finish both of them. I'll do one of them just for you. But you're right. The jump scenes, I think, especially, are just some of the most brilliantly incompetent moments. Like the scene I turned to you, Hannah. Me and you were absolutely barreled over. It's like this wide shot of the moon, and they clearly did 2 takes of it, and the moon has shifted like a fucking 2 feet across. But it's meant to be the same shot. Oh man, just.
But to give it its due, it did actually have me like laughing at
consistently.
points. Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say consistently.
I would. You're
But
wrong.
there were plenty of points where it was. But there were also points where I was like, shit, did I blink? Did I miss something? Turned out I hadn't, but that just made it feel even longer. I was like, oh fuck, like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm a bit lost. Then it turns out to just be fuckery. I was like, alright, I didn't need to know.
Just fuckery.
What is his understanding of somebody being unconscious and how
Mate.
like
Mate.
Just people go to sleep a lot in that.
They've all got narcolepsy. You know those fainting goats? They're like the human equivalent of those fainting goats. They get into a small scrap.
Torgo is half man, half fainting goat.
Yeah, he's half goat anyway, so it makes sense. You were pissed off about the sandals. I wanted to mention the sandals. You were so infuriated about this fucking guy's sandals.
To be fair, right, the only sort of like bit in that you thought, oh, this is actually really cool, was the cape. And then they pan down to, first of all, just feet. But like Primark £10 Velcro black sandals. It was
definitely
ridiculous.
Primark. Definitely Primark.
It was so off-putting. Like, so, I mean, if anything, like everything, wasn't off-putting enough. That
was the one that stuck.
The one that just broke us a little bit. I think, just like he's this ancient man who I assume lives for I don't know however long. He's got 6 wives. He can kill people with this weird black fire hand thing. But he's got fucking imported tenor sandals. Like, what?
He's just come back off his holidays in Benidorm, let's be honest. He's just got
the
friend.
eyebrows, man. Nah, the more I think about the film, the more infuriated.
You better not.
Hello, what footwear would you have preferred?
Oh, good question.
Oh, okay.
Clown shoes.
No, do you know what? I don't think you should have ever seen his feet. I think he should have been like some weird
fucking floating.
I mean, if you're gonna go that sort of absurd, then go absurd.
He's just a head and hands.
Guys,
the rest of his cape.
He has more hands. Just 2 hands on his
Like, how much better would that have been?
That would have been great. Could have had someone stand behind him, lie on the floor, and just like put the hands underneath the cape, wiggle fingers.
Just going back to the wives for a second, because one of my absolute favourite scenes, and I turned to you, George, and said, is when he wakes up for the first time, and the first scene with his wives is them just bickering, like talking over each other, and he's just looking like, I've made a terrible mistake.
The wives for me were an absolute standout.
They were a joy.
They all so as you said, most of the actors had like theatre background.
Yeah.
You could tell with those wives, they were all overacting and hamming it up, and it was glorious to see.
Beautiful.
They were moving around as if dancing, and then there's a bit where they swap sides. They're all stood around, and to decide which side of the argument, they do a little twirly little dance move, like just a dance move, one dance move, so that they all say which side of this argument.
Weirdly enough, because I wonder, it was adapted for the stage 4 times. I wonder if they were actually good on stage. Maybe that's why.
When the guys were watching the film, that twist.
This would be a musical.
Definitely.
That's it. I just love that bit where they're all arguing and then the dub completely stops but everyone's mouth's still moving and they're all shaking their arms about. Very cross arms.
It's just, oh my god, there's flailing, aren't there? Like, they're still talking, but the sound...
Synchronicity, what's the word?
Synchronicity.
Oh,
I'll dub you over. We'll dub you Hannah over with my voice. You say the first bit?
Sing.
No, it doesn't matter. You fucked it. Synchronicity. No, you're absolutely right though. It is these magical scenes of like none of the dialogue flows naturally. There are like long pauses. It just feels like the director Warren. He's just. Are you okay? You look terrified. What's happening to you?
My ears keep popping, and I don't know why. So I'm trying to pop them, but every time I go to pop them, I then cause myself to.
You look like you're in agony.
Constant cycle. Sorry.
It just feels like you're right. He's using every second of those 32 seconds per scene that he has. So like the dialogue won't kick in until like 5 minutes, and these awkward pauses where as if someone's farted and they're just kind of like wait to see what the fuck that was.
No improv or anything. They just stand there.
It's almost like they're waiting for a laugh track.
Yeah.
Like if you watch a sitcom with the laugh track removed, it's exactly the same thing. Awkward pauses.
I need someone to do that.
To put a laugh track over it.
I want to know how that changes the tone.
Oh, it would absolutely massively change it. Yeah.
I wrote down during it that if you took out all the awkward pauses, you've probably got a 30-minute decent movie.
At least a little bit less stressful than what it was. But weirdly enough, having seen the Blu-ray, I turned to you again and was like, I do think they've done a decent job restoring this to look a lot better. A lot better. I don't know if I'd say gorgeous.
I'd go as far as say gorgeous. Yeah. The red on his.
I do like the color is the palette. There's like this really beautiful blue room as well that I quite appreciate. But again, the way they use it, it's just awkward. You're right. These like the long extended scenes of them looking at the painting, which you're like, right, okay, we get it. Right, you're doing it for dramatic effect. It's happened for 30 seconds.
And they have that scene more than once.
Yeah, they go back to staring at the painting like 5 minutes later, like they didn't stare at it enough.
But then when you eventually meet Manos as well, I love the transition from him to the pit. Just in case you didn't know,
he's not Manos. He's the master.
Oh, sorry.
He worships Manos.
We
never worship hands.
We never see Manos, do we? It's just a hand.
He's a statue.
It's just him.
I
Weird
feel like I missed the
Master.
entire plot, guys.
Weird question. You know the ones in the Super Mario like games, the giant hands that fight you at the end of Smash
Master
Bros.
Hand and
think-
Crazy Hand.
Do you think there's like a link there? Do you think that's what he's worshipping? Those giant fucking fists that you fight in
Do
Smash
you think he was
Bros?
playing that the night before he went and met the
Absolutely
director?
not,
And he was
because it
just
was
like, right,
Definitely about 30 years too early, so no, absolutely not.
Hands. Maybe you just got like a really big fetish for hands.
It's just so fucking fascinating. And again, the only negative I can really pull from it is having known a little bit of the backstory, having known what happened to Togo, the actor who plays Togo. It's a little painful to watch him sometimes.
Even from the start, you see him come out and it's like, right, clearly this isn't just him overacting. He is out of his mind on drugs.
It's like the guy from...
And he's so in pain when he's trying to walk. He's just stumbling around and like, that looks like it hurts.
Well, it's like the guy from Troll 2, the one who was like released on day release from the mental hospital, where you're
Yeah,
like, you
just-
don't know where you are, mate. You're clearly not here, and that's like it's kind of awful to watch.
But his eyebrows though, he put a fake set of eyebrows on them and they moved independently to his real eyebrows.
Oh, it's so fucking good though. I mean, I think I agree with what has been said. Like, I think this is way more entertaining than the first time I watched it. I don't know whether I've just matured as a audience member, as a viewer. My palate's got a lot.
I think
more
it's because me and you just watched it by ourselves, where with a big group, it was much more funny.
You were saying that, George. Like, I think by yourself, this is not a fun watch. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is for us.
No, it drags. It really drags when you watch it on your own. You need people to bounce off.
I think
watching.
if you are on your own and if you've got no one to watch this with, first of all, what are you doing? Come on,
get some friends.
Get some friends. But I think the best case scenario, if you are by yourself and watching this, watch the MST 3K one. Like, that's the best way to watch it, because it feels like you've got three friends there with you. Or watch ours.
So is that what they do then?
They just watch the movie and make basically what we do up there. When
they
we
just
make the
heckle
shit out of
movies
it.
while
Yeah.
they're on.
It's wonderful. Hannah, you love
That
it.
actually sounds quite
You
fun.
absolutely
It's
love
great.
it.
It's a guy on a spaceship with two robot friends.
I know what
You've seen
Of
this?
course
Yeah,
you do.
yeah.
This is just Hannah all over. We'll do this. We'll spend an hour talking about something. It's like, oh, fuck yeah, I remember that.
It's not funny.
You're absurd. You're a best worst person.
You are. That's why we have you. Best worst seal of approval, Hannah.
Well, guys.
What do we think? The dog, right? So the dog got paid in dog food, but there were two dogs. Which dog do we think got paid
George,
for the
suss
act?
this
The one that's still alive.
Yeah, they definitely killed the other dog.
And that was the dog food.
That wasn't a prop. That was just a dead dog. An actual dead dog.
The dog dies and it's not moving at all. And for the rest of the film before that, they could not control it. It was climbing over the kid.
Oh, it wanted
was
to
like
be
nearly
out.
jumped out of a moving car at one point. And I feel the only way they could make that dog look dead is to actually kill it. And then that other dog looks like it could have eaten that dog quite easily.
There we go. You solved the mystery. It was paid in the flesh of the other dog. I do. Speaking of dogs, I quite enjoyed the dogging police, and just those two characters. I have served no purpose to the plot other than to stop dogging like 4 times throughout the movie, and they just keep following this poor couple to every dogging spot they go to.
That poor couple.
It's the same spot.
Yeah, but the couple didn't do anything.
The
did they?
couple are just in the car making out, being weird as fuck with a weird dub. The police show up, tell them to fuck off, and then it gets to night time, and they've came back again and started doing the same thing again. And the cop tells them off, but it has no relevance to anything that's happened anywhere else.
No.
I don't think it's connected other than them driving past them twice.
It's not connected to the main story. Like, there's no actual like through point there, is there? Really, it's a B plot that is completely separate to the main story. Other than,
Do you think more was meant to happen with that? Like, was the
Maybe?
police meant to show up at the house at some point?
No. No.
The police do a half-assed job of looking for them. They get out a torch, shine it into the
Anyone
desert,
there?
and go, no, hello.
I'm sure it was a torch.
They didn't even
What
shine
was
it.
that thing
I
that
don't
they brought
know.
out at
Listen,
the
they
end?
pull out a vaguely phallic red stick and then shine it at some bushes.
Because the dad fires the gun, he's like, oh, I thought I heard gunshots.
I guess not.
It's nighttime. It's really loud. That could be coming from Texas.
Appreciate all the bullshit. You're right. You appreciate the dogs not behaving and them just being like, right, that's fine. You appreciate this one scene again. We turn to each other and was like, that kid is bored. The kid starts kicking a plant halfway through this really stressful scene.
While being chased, just stops while the parents have a conversation. Just starts twiddling her feet.
Absolutely genius. And again, like it's so hard to actually ever think of this as a horror film because it's so unintentionally hilarious. Like even the master walking around with his dog, it's like he's like
going for a stroll on the beach.
He's walking around with a fucking leash on. He looks
A
like
bejazzled leash.
He looks like Gothic Liberace out for his fucking daily stroll in the park. It's fucking ridiculous.
He reminded me of Jim from Friday Night Dinner.
Oh fuck yes! Oh my god!
He
Yeah.
holds the lead exactly the
shit.
same.
That's
Jim, but just a really camp theatre queen.
I mean, the master was a bit of both. Yeah, he is proper camp. He's camp as Christmas, isn't he?
Yeah.
There's definitely, it is their mate wives. He's definitely covering for something.
Oh, with a cape like that, you ain't straight.
You ain't. You ain't.
I've got one thing I want. There's a lot of slapping.
Oh, right, I'm
Very
so
so much slapping.
But it's not good. I feel like all these theatre people were never taught how to actually do violence in fucking any of the plays because they're all so gentle with it.
It's weird, but it's weird because it's a weird dichotomy. Like they're quite gentle, but then there's that one scene where the master's just slapping the shit out of his wife, and I got quite uncomfortable because it lingers for ages. You think like 1 or 2 slaps might be all right. I can get away with that.
And then she
Like,
makes her mouth go again.
It's the 30th slap, and I'm a little bit upset.
And he keeps panning to like his face, dead on to his face, and he's just going for just staring, the hand going. Then he'll pan back to her with blood on her face, and back to him with like orange blood on his face. It lasts forever.
It wasn't blood, it wasn't sweat.
Fanta.
It looked like somebody had just chucked a coffee at him and he just went on set.
Maybe he pissed someone off on the crew. They weren't getting paid, they were probably quite pissed anyway. I do love that none of these people got paid, and watching it, you're like, you are rolling around in dirt for free.
For free.
They look like they're having a great time.
Right? I
That
think
fight scene as well was definitely the scene where they said that you can't stroll too far away.
Sorry, look at the
Right
cat.
on sand.
The cat. Oh, should I fucking tell you I should look ridiculous? Hand say line again. Sorry, I should have
Yeah.
screamed the cat. The cat. It was my fault.
The fighting scene, that was definitely the scene where they weren't allowed to walk outside of the light because it was too dark outside. So it was literally just like, do you know what? It looked like a stage production.
It was like light, pitch black. The universe ends.
Maybe this guy, maybe he would have had a decent career in on the stage because doesn't matter. I was about to go there, but I think everything else is just so magically incompetent that I can't. Hopefully he was a very good fertilizer salesman because this isn't your calling, bud.
Well, he had the equivalent of 150 grand to put towards a film that he didn't know was going to do well. Didn't do very well.
I want to know what.
So
When did he die? Did he
I
ever
think
live?
he lived for a decent amount of time.
Did he live to see?
Oh,
No,
Right.
did he live to see the success? when
Oh,
it's
the
in-
success. Let's have a check. Harold P. Warren died in 1985, so I think it was just a couple of years. It was about 10 years before MST3K picked it up. It was 93 when MST. Yeah, so he just missed out.
At least his kid knows about it.
Yeah, he died
That's
in obscurity.
something.
Like all the best artists died in obscurity. All the greats of their generation. You guys are just so
Shakespeare, for example.
Van Gogh did. Yeah, we're just going to compare Warren to these.
Yep.
But I just, again, the prop budget, you think they do such a good job on that one costume that where the fuck did the rest of the money go? Because then there's one scene.
No. They did such a good job on a cape.
Yeah.
Let's not say whole costume.
Sandals.
The sandals. I'm sorry.
You cannot say. He even had the weird what's his name?
Yep.
Togo eyebrows at one point.
He did.
But that was a fabulous cape.
It was
I
a
will give
fabulous
it that.
cape. It was fucking fabulous. But then you look at some of the props they have. So there's one scene where Manos burns Togo's hand off, and it's just this. It looks like
brilliant.
It's fucking stunning because it's like it burns down, the flesh melts off, and it's just twigs or it's there's no bones there.
Like candle wicks.
Candle
Cut on a puff of smoke. So when his hand's gone and on fire.
He's just running away with his arm in the air.
Is that the last time we see him?
I think so.
Him
'cause-
running away on fire.
Because then the final scene is the dad of the family who takes over Togo's role. I look after the house when the master's away, and it's like instead of something sinister like Togo, it's like I'm Michael. I look after the house when the master's
Michael.
away. Doesn't have quite the same ring, does it? Really?
No way. He's like dad jeans and shirt.
He has not even
Like
changed.
suburban haircut.
I wonder if he'll start looking more and more like Togo as the years go by. Like he'll just start
Growing
developing.
eyebrows. A second pair of eyebrows.
I mean, unless there's any scenes that you guys want to specifically talk about.
Yes.
You got it.
I have a favourite scene.
Well, do you want to do? We'll do favorite scenes.
Okay.
We'll do a round table of favorite scenes. So, tell me your favorite scene and why.
My favourite scene was the first wife, and she was the one who was campaigning for the.
How to get you right now.
This was the worst idea. Who brings a cat to a podcast? Who the fuck brings a cat to a podcast recording? Me is the answer. Me? Little old me. Sorry, Ryan, you were saying something.
The first wife was campaigning not to kill the daughter, and she just kept repeating the same line repeatedly.
Yes.
The child, no. But she does it like several times, never puts forward a different argument, just the same thing repeatedly. I absolutely love it, especially with the
argument
dub.
is one is yes and the other is no. Like that's all she needs to say.
I loved in that scene how they were all talking over each other, and it was essentially a rabble, 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 rabble. And then it'd go quiet, but their mouths would still be moving. And then one of them would say their independent
one person.
rabble, 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 rabble.
Everyone else
rabble,
was still
quiet.
talking, but we're just sure you one person's audio.
It's a tiny scene, but it's the bit that got me the most. It's the moon.
Yeah,
It was the moon. It's just one still shot of the moon just jumping about an inch to the left.
Bro, it was just when Hannah went, did the moon just move? And it just absolutely killed me.
But again, like you're right, there's just these like weird illogical moments where it's like, oh, we better get in. It's dark soon, and it's the broadest fucking daylight ever. Soon. It's midday. The sun is beating. They're sweating.
There's no shadows because it's literally midday.
We better get in. It's gonna be sundown soon. Hannah, favorite scene?
It's the moon scene.
Yeah,
It
the
got
moon,
us.
yeah.
It absolutely killed us.
That's fair.
Like, it was so
It's a
small.
good
Genuinely, guys, if you could watch this film for anything,
Drink a lot
One
first.
shot of the moon.
One shot.
Well, you can also see something similar when the wife starts undressing herself,
Yeah.
where like it just pans a few seconds forward every like half second.
Judge, did you give your favorite? Was your favorite the wives? Bigger in.
The wives fighting is great,
It's great.
but I think Torgo bringing the luggage in right at the beginning, it's hard to watch, but
Because they just make him suffer, don't they?
it's so bad. Like he's obviously in a lot of pain.
I hope there was nothing
and
in
on a
those
lot of
briefcases.
But you could have done exactly. You could have made the same effect with what George said by putting like a knee pad on the thigh, or by shoving like a pillow down like the
Anything
leg or
but
something.
crippling.
Well,
one
not
of
if you
your
put it on
actors.
the right way around.
Yes.
Might look cool if it was the right way.
Anything but forcing your actor to get addicted to pain meds and eventually killing themselves.
I think he was
Anything's
definitely
better.
on
Anything's
by the
better than
end.
that.
I can see the other way being quite comfortable because it looks like you have a bit of a bit to sit on because it bends backwards so you can rest your butt. No, irreparable damage.
It's just genius. Like it is. It's one of these. Like I think it's one of these lightning in a bottle moments where even
The score will haunt you to your deathbed.
That one piano riff that they keep overusing. All the shots are 32 seconds long, but the piano riff is shorter than that. So the piano riff ends, and then the scene continues for a little bit.
You'll be hearing this in your dreams for fucking weeks. It is. I think it's one of these lightning in a bottle moments where even every other film we've covered on this podcast, I think you can kind of explain a bit easier than this. This is one of these that it's so difficult to explain to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's hard to actually like comprehend until you watch it exactly what you're watching.
I think they should teach this in school.
I think they should.
When they teach about hubris and hamata, this is the example they should give. This is what happens when you fly too close to the sun.
This is what happens when you bet that you can make a horror film with zero experience and no money and making a bet.
If anything, it makes you appreciate other films a lot
Well, there's
more.
that, yeah.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think this is the worst made film we have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the worst. Any other
Just
one?
on a production and a pure production and editing and
Possibly every level, if I'm honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
No, there's not a redeeming quality in the actual
No,
cinematography.
the actual film itself.
Especially
whether you
that
enjoy
was
it or
the
not,
restored
it's
this is
sort of
it
like
as
a-
well.
Like there are films that
Yeah.
have been made much better. For even example, like just picking out an example, Last Airbender, as much as it's one of the most atrocious things I've ever seen, it's much more competently made.
Yes.
Whereas,
If
but
we have to say anything positive about that film.
one, I would say if you're going to ask me to rewatch one, I know exactly which one I'm going to tell you. I'm going to rewatch.
Oh, take
It's
Manos
gonna be
over
Manos
Avatar,
every day,
obviously.
every
But
day.
Avatar was an assault on our souls, Liam.
Well, there is that. Yeah, there is that. Have you seen Last Airbender? Because you don't need to.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you
Is
definitely
it-
don't do it to yourself.
Nah.
There was a couple like moments of artistic flourish,
there
which I
was.
noticed. There was a lot of point of view on the slapping, which is a choice.
Choice.
There was one moment in the car where the light from the rear view mirror cast like across her face,
I think I saw that. Yeah.
and created a square of light on her face that she was peering through, and like it had no reason to be there. But
I don't believe for 1 second that they, if it looked cool, they did not mean to do it. I can guarantee if it looked good, it wasn't them.
Accident.
I don't. There were some shots where you're like, well, if this was in a better movie, if this was in a competent and like well scripted, logical movie, this shot wouldn't be that bad. Like there are scenes with the Master where he's like being framed.
I disagree.
There's like that one scene where he's framed through the fire, and I'm like, look, it's not a beautiful scene by any stretch, but it's a competent scene. And it's like if this was
because he stood still.
No, I know. But if this was any different, if you ignore the dialogue and the speech. And
ignore everything about
it. If you ignore everything else, it's a good picture. It's a nice photograph, is what it is. It's a very pretty photo. It's a great silent movie.
It's a good still to put on the back of the DVD.
But again, like I say, the aesthetics, there are interesting elements to the aesthetics. There are interesting, like, I think, a flair here.
Do you know those live like museums you can go to, like at the Baltic, where they put like those weird do you know what? If they took that film, they literally took all the audio out and they just played it and you walked through it. It would be like a piece of weird sort of art, wouldn't it? Like that sort of.
See it.
See, so maybe there is a flair. Maybe there is.
I don't think it's completely.
Maybe it's just broke our brains enough that like.
Maybe you're starting to come round.
Maybe it works well on acid.
It would probably ruin your life.
I feel like
if you
that
drop
would
acid and watch Manos the Hands of Fate, you're not coming back from that. You're joining Torgo in fucking goat man hell.
I love that final scene as well, just before like they cut to the dad as the new caretaker, where they're being chased and like, oh, I know, let's go back to the house. They'll never think of looking for us there.
She spends the whole film wanting to leave the house, and as soon as she's gone, she wants to go back.
Yeah, she keeps saying like, oh yeah, we need to leave this house as she's undressing and putting a nighting gown on, and she's lying down to bed. God, we've got to get out of this house.
I mean, they get back to the house, and oh fuck, what a coincidence! The Master's there waiting for them.
Oh, the guy who lives in this house is here.
They start shooting them with a gun, and then the Master starts going blurry on the screen. And I'm like, oh, is he like fading out like a ghost?
No, it's just blurry. Well, again, I said to George, like the director said he took 2 shots. He didn't do any more than 2 takes of a scene. So he literally wouldn't go past 2. So that means that blurry shot was the best of 2.
Oh jeez.
And there was a blurry shot of a dog. That was the best of 2. That was the one they went with because the other one, I want to see what the other one fucking looks like.
Upside down.
Oh my god, it's one of these experiences that I think is like once in a lifetime. You can't really compare it to any other film you're ever going to see.
Can I revise my favourite?
Of course you can, yeah.
Scene?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because we've had one.
You don't need to ask permission. I'm not a teacher.
Right.
Sorry, sir, can I do my test again?
Do we not have to raise our hand when we want to speak?
If you know what's good for you, then yes.
It was when the mum goes to look for a daughter after she disappears. She slightly cracks open the door so you can see literally about 1 millimetre into a dark room and goes, nope, not in there.
Literally.
Just walks away.
She was waiting for the moment that the daughter ran away because she was not ready to look for her. That was the happiest she's ever been. But again, if your child sounded like a 50-year-old woman from the South, you probably would want them missing too as well, wouldn't you?
It's just a prequel to Orphan.
Yeah. I just think it's wonderful. It's one of these lightning in a bottle moments. You can't ever replicate it. It's even the worst of the best worst. It's hard to replicate to a level of Manos. What it kind of reminds me of, anyone who watched our Hollywood's New Blood episode, it reminded of the level of incompetence. I think Manos is a lot more entertaining than Hollywood's New Blood.
I actually think it's less competent though.
Manos is.
Yeah.
There's more. Hollywood's New Blood has a little bit more of a structure. George, you dig the fuck out of Hollywood's New Blood.
I will be checking.
Instead of
the camera takes full length scenes.
Yeah, there is that.
I'm all about that.
Hollywood's New Blood it's very similar in the sense that it has those like repeating motifs, and that soundtrack, if they just keep repeating, the piano music is replaced by a screaming peacock in Hollywood's New Blood, where every scene is accompanied by a peacock going and by the 30 minutes in, you're like, all I've heard for 30 minutes is peacock, and I'm going to kill someone.
Like at least the piano is like consistent and just kind of like fades into your subconscious. The peacock every single time, it's just so jarring.
Just great. I mean, if I'm ready to do some final thoughts, would you or not recommend? And then we'll do a little sign off.
I mean, I'm the naysayer here, and I still say watch it.
Yeah.
Like,
You're going to get a full round.
Yeah, I was like so tired by the end of it, but at the same time, I'm like, go watch it with a bunch of people. Don't do it by yourself. Make fun of it while you want it. Heckle the movie while you're on, and you'll have a much better time, and it's something worth talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah?
Yeah.
I mean, are you pretty much echoing that, yeah?
Obviously, Jack didn't.
Should we dub Jack over? Should we do like a little... Wait, hold on.
I give it
I'm going to do a Jack. I'm going to try my best for a Jack impression.
Okay.
I'm Jack. I look after the place while the master's away.
Oh, you're not going to beat that one.
I'm not, no.
No.
Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. So I know
Thumbs up, definitely.
Just so I know what to put on the Instagram.
Jack is a...
I need to make a little no, this isn't Jack. I need to make a little gif of every time Jack falls asleep because it's only happened twice. This and Cats was the other one, right? Or was it happened 3 times?
It's definitely happened.
Godzilla was on. He fell asleep during Godzilla. Yeah. But this is the only one we've not been able to wake him up from since Cats. He was. This is the one that sent him into a coma.
He turned around and just went, "No,
I'm not doing it. I refuse." George, final thoughts? Would you or not recommend?
I would recommend it. I mean, again, watch it with people because I was worried going in, but 70 minutes flew by. Once you're having a good time with it, if you're sitting, having a couple beers, taking the piss out of it, you're going to have a great time. Yeah, I would. I love it. It's great.
Fuck yeah, man. You're right. It is, but it's a beautiful time capsule of a. I think it's a weird look into the subconscious of a man who I think had a lot of balls, and I appreciate that. Like, I think because it's entirely him. This was filmed, directed, written, dubbed for the most part, probably scored. Like, this is just, it's such a weird little passion project that I understand what he means when he said this is probably the worst film ever made, but I'm very proud of it. And I think there's something really sweet and quite sincere about that, despite the fact that he crippled one of his stars and made him kill himself.
To do it as a bet.
But still thumb straight up.
To make a film for a bet and basically make it out of spite is the best reason to do anything.
Why do anything other than out of spite?
Other than out of spite.
Yeah.
To be fair dues, I wouldn't know where to fucking start with making a movie, like any of it. So he did a better job than I could have done.
I reckon we could make Manos.
Don't, because this is how it starts.
Bad taste coming in 2022.
I'm not claiming to be able to make a horror or any form of genre other than a terrible movie. I reckon I could knock out a shitty film.
Well, now we've put this out there.
If I had that much budget.
Now we put this out there into the world.
If you want to fund me 150k.
Right, and
Go fund me, guys. We'll set one up. If you want to see a film by Bad
This one was 19k. I've got 30k sitting in my bank account. We were going to spend it on a house, but if you think this is a better, if you think this is a more lucrative business venture for us to go into, then yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
I mean, no. I mean, the best part of my night was when food came and Jack looked out the window and said, Scranos, the hands of bait.
Oh, I was really sad because I wanted to get him to say that.
Scranos, hands of bait.
Scranos, we'll all say it. Should we all say it on the count of 3? 3, 2, 1.
Scranos, the hands of bait.
I forgot the second bit.
You're not getting a second. How do I only do 2 takes? We're not doing another one. Fucking thank you so much for joining us on this episode, guys, and thank you, George, for finally
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
absolute pleasure.
Let us know where we can find you on your Instagram.
So my Instagram is @tipsy_flicks. So that's TIPSY_flicks. FLIX.
I had to think about that. Didn't you?
Couldn't remember if it was because I needed it.
Spelled
CKS.
MANOS.
Gotta have that X in there. You should a little porn spin-off, Tipsy Flicks with XXX. Yeah, but please do check out.
I'll just be multiple pairings for
wine. Yeah, you could do wine pairings. Make it classy for the pornos.
Ouchie mama. So what the fuck?
That was
Keep
an
that in,
ouchie mama.
please. Keep that in. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's on par with the bridesmaid shirt saying hot mummy.
Oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, I don't need a reminder of that. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Do check out Tipsy at Tipsy Flicks. Honestly, my life has always improved every time I see one of your parents. And just every time I see you, I appreciate you. You only get
stop it. You're making me blush.
I know.
Is it 2 beers? Yeah,
2 beers deep.
Picked
2
out
beers
and
deep.
checked out, and they've all been.
He's supplied us a lot of alcohol over the last few months.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's what he's good for.
That's why we talk to him.
thank you for joining us on this episode, guys. Do check.
Jack.
Do check us out. Do check us out at Bad Taste Buds Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and Bad Taste Bud Podcast on Facebook. And next week we will be joining. Oh, what will we do next? I do this a lot where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen next week, and I'm gonna start making some bullshit up, and hope I know the answer by the end of it. I don't know what the fuck we're doing next week. I have no idea.
Mystery week, guys.
We'll figure it out.
Bonfire night soon. Should I start thinking of a bonfire? Is there any Bad Taste Buds bonfire night? Is there any bonfire night movies apart from V for Vendetta?
What nice?
Kind of. Yeah, there's elements of that. Yeah.
Bonfire night with him.
Bonfire. Right, we'll find a bonfire night.
What night?
Bonfire night. That's what it's called.
Bonfire night.
Yeah. Why are you mocking me? It's called bonfire night.
Like 50 times.
Sorry. You made me say it 50 more. Yeah, we'll find a bad movie for you. Don't worry, guys. We're not going to run out anytime soon, are we? But thank you again, guys. Have a safe night, and make sure you don't go following. What are you looking at me for?
There is Bonfire Night Safety, the movie.
Yeah, why not?
I sound like a public service.
Should we do it? Thank you so much for joining us on this episode, guys. Stay safe out there and enjoy your Halloween. Make sure you do a lot of spooky things. You carve a lot of pumpkins. You eat a lot of candy. You dress up as slutty cats and all that good shit.
Yeah, man. Hands that Manos.
If you can make me a Manos cape, please do send it to P.O. Box. I'm not going to give my address out. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Sick.